Test 1, 2, 3.
Thank you very well for the accommodation. Right. Try to do a good job. Yeah. No, that's exactly.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
I said, yeah. I still got.
Test 1, 2.
I'll open it up there once we open it up. I appreciate it.
Maybe stuck for the night. Oh, there too. Oh, yeah. That's true.
Stand for the pledge.
Stand.
That's okay.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for the prayer. Lord, grant us, O Lord, light to our understanding, prudence in our investigating, foresight in our planning, sincerity in our deliberating, grace to follow truth in our judgment. Help us to be moved in our decision, neither by fear nor by self-interest, and to do our work faithfully. May we respect the authority vested in us, for thou art the source of all authority. May we use it in our directives for the common good, for their honor and glory. Amen.
Amen.
Call to order. Roll call, please.
Mr. Joyce,
Aye, here.
Mrs. Joyce, Mrs. Hardwick, Mrs. Mara.
Here.
Mr. Conrad,
Present.
Mr. Thompson.
Present.
Thank you. First item, we're going to be accepting the resignation and retirement of Chief Sue Schofield. Letter dated November 18, 2024. Mayor Mara, please accept this letter of resignation for purposes of retirement from the Village of Timberlake Police Department effective November 20, 2024. It has been an honor to serve and protect the citizens of Timberlake. Regards, Susan M. Schofield. So do I have a motion to accept this resignation, please?
I make a motion.
I will
Mrs.
second.
Hardwick Makes a motion. Mr. Joyce seconds. Roll call, please.
Mr. Joyce,
Aye.
Mrs. Joyce,
Aye.
Mrs. Hardwick,
Aye.
Mrs. Mara,
Aye.
Mr. Conrad,
Aye.
Mr. Thompson.
Aye.
Thank you. Moving on to legislation. First is resolution number 2024-33. A resolution approving and confirming Nick Dolben as Chief of Police for the Village of Timberlake, Ohio, and declare an emergency. Do I have a motion to suspend the rules, please?
So moved.
Mr. Joyce makes a motion.
I will second.
Mrs. Mara seconds. Roll call, please.
Mr. Joyce,
Aye.
Mrs. Joyce,
Aye.
Mrs. Hardwick, Mrs. Mara,
Aye.
Mr. Conrad,
Aye.
Mr. Thompson. Aye.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve resolution 2024-33, please?
Make a motion.
Mrs. Mara makes a motion.
I'll second.
Oh, Margaret will second.
Mrs. Joyce seconds. Discussion?
Who is this guy? Never.
I think that this is going to be a very good addition to our village. Somebody who knows our village, has taken the time to get to know people in the village, and really good leadership skills. I think he's going to be a very good addition. Would wholeheartedly recommend to council that we accept this.
Yeah, I agree. I want to say, I guess for the last time, I'll say Sergeant Tobin, once we make it official, hopefully, but thank you for stepping up and being willing to take on this position and deal with everyone up here. We're a fun bunch, but we can be pains at times, right, Mr. O'Leary? And just I mean, looking at your CV, I mean, quite extensive history in law enforcement, exemplary actions through your whole career. And I mean, wow, coming in with a lot of new officers. So it already shows that I think we're all excited to make this official.
Okay, any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Joyce,
Emphatically, aye.
Mrs. Joyce,
Aye.
Mrs. Hardwick,
Absolutely.
Mrs. Mara,
Aye.
Mr. Conrad,
Yeah.
Mr. Thompson.
Aye, thank you.
This time, we're going to go ahead and swear in the new chief and have him take his seat up here. So if you want to go administer the
Swear at him.
front here, anybody want to take a picture, can come out on
Oh.
picture. We're going to stay out here in the front. We do it out here, we'll get it on video. For those that want to watch it. Right about it. Come on here.
Now you gotta blow on it, so it's way.
You gotta unroll it the other, I think you have to unroll it the other way, yeah.
We want people to stay, Jim.
Like that. I make all of them. Constitution of the United States of the United States. The Constitution of Ohio, State of Ohio. The laws and ordinances of the village of Timberlake, from the village of Timberlake, and I will faithfully, honestly, and impartially discharge the duties of the chief of police of the village of Timberlake, Police Department, State of Ohio, during my continuance, in said office. So help me God.
Absolutely. All the time. You can keep one.
Find your food if you want to.
I think the plan is to read through all the legislation and get everybody approved, and that those that are here will have you come up one at a time, and we'll do it at the end of
No
that
remnants
time.
left,
And then we'll
please.
adjourn.
Yes,
Right?
sure.
All right,
Okay, thank you.
we're gonna zip through these resolutions.
Okay, next one is resolution 2024-34. Resolution authorizing the mayor to hire Officer David Claridge as a part-time patrolman for the village of Timberlake Village Police Department and declare an emergency. Do I have a motion to suspend the rules, please?
So moved.
Mr. Conrad makes a motion.
Second,
Second,
Mr. Thompson seconds. Roll call, please.
Mr. Joyce.
Aye.
Mrs. Joyce.
Aye.
Mrs. Hardwick,
Aye.
Mrs. Mara.
Aye.
Mr. Conrad.
Aye.
Mr. Thompson.
aye,
Thank you. Now do I have a motion to approve resolution 2024-34, please?
move to approve.
Mr. Thompson makes a motion.
Second.
Mr. Joyce seconds. Discussion?
Pete, you wanna tell us about each of the candidates?
Sure. David Claridge actually was here for quite some time, just recently left 4 years ago. And now when I was actually on a range with him, about a couple months ago this summer, running a range with UH. And I actually approached him and said, hey, if there's ever an opportunity to come back, would you want to come back? And he said, wholeheartedly, yes, I'd love to come back. He's now currently full-time at UH, but he would love to be back at the Village of Timberlake.
Awesome. Great, thank you. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Joyce,
Aye.
Mrs. Joyce.
Aye.
Mrs. Hardwick,
Aye.
Mrs. Mara.
Aye.
Mr. Conrad.
Aye.
Mr. Thompson.
Aye.
Thank you. Next, resolution 2024-35, a resolution authorizing the mayor to hire Officer Alicia Nagy as part-time patrolman for the Timberlake Village Police Department and declare an emergency. Do I have a motion to suspend the rules, please?
So moved.
Mr. Joyce makes a motion.
I'll second.
Mrs. Joyce seconds. Roll call, please.
Mr. Joyce.
Aye.
Mrs. Joyce. Mrs. Hardwick.
Aye.
Mrs. Mara.
Aye.
Mr. Conrad.
Aye.
Mr. Thompson.
Aye.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve resolution 2024-35, please?
Move to approve.
Mr. Thompson makes a motion.
I'll second.
Mr. Joyce seconds. Discussion.
Alicia Nagy also was a former Timberlake police officer. I've actually kept in contact with her through the last few years. And I've actually trained with her at the Geneva on the Lake Police Department as well. Approached her, but she's always talked to me about coming back to the Village of Timberlake because she enjoyed it so much. This came to fruition. I reached out to her again and she accepted and was eager to come back to the Village of Timberlake. And here she is tonight with her beautiful young daughter.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Joyce.
Aye.
Mrs. Joyce.
Aye.
Mrs. Hardwick.
Aye.
Mrs. Mara.
Aye.
Mr. Conrad.
Aye.
Mr. Thompson.
Aye.
Thank you. Next resolution 2024-36, a resolution authorizing the mayor to hire Officer Joseph Christopher as a part-time patrolman for the Timberlake Village Police Department and declare an emergency. Do I have a motion to suspend the rules, please?
I make a motion.
Mrs. Mara makes a motion.
I'll second.
Mrs. Hardwick seconds. Roll call, please.
Mr. Joyce.
Aye.
Mrs. Joyce.
Aye.
Mrs. Hardwick.
Aye.
Mrs. Mara.
Aye.
Mr. Conrad.
Aye.
Mr. Thompson.
Aye.
Do I have a motion approving resolution 2024-36, please?
Move to approve.
Mr. Thompson makes a motion.
Second.
Mrs. Mara seconds. Discussion.
Joseph Christopher, I've known this young gentleman for 15 years. He goes by the nickname, I'll say it, Angry Joe, but he's not really angry. Angry Joe was here for over 10 years as a Timberlake police officer, left 4 years ago. And I've been in contact with him. Joe has a world of knowledge and is also certified as a firearms instructor in rifle, shotgun, pistol, red dot, taser, and use of force, OC, and a whole lot of other things. So Joe is going to be a great addition to the department. I've always kind of twisted his arm for the last about year and a half now. And I'm like, hey, you ever want to come back? And he's like, nope. And so finally I gave him some news the other day and he's like, are you going to do it this year? And I go, God willing, it happens. And it did. So Joe Christopher's welcome to be back here. And we're going to definitely utilize his knowledge and experience through the last 15 years of knowledge and what he's learned through the job. So I'm happy to have him back.
Okay, great, thank you.
Great.
Any other questions or discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Mr. Joyce.
Aye.
Mrs. Joyce.
Aye.
Mrs. Hardwick.
Aye.
Mrs. Mara. Mr. Conrad. Mr. Thompson.
Aye.
Thank you. Next, resolution 2024-37, a resolution authorizing the mayor to hire Officer James Simone as a part-time sergeant for the Timberlake Village Police Department and declare an emergency. Do I have a motion to suspend the rules, please?
So moved.
Mr. Joyce makes a motion.
I'll second.
Mrs. Joyce seconds. Roll call, please.
Mr. Joyce.
Aye.
Mrs. Joyce.
Aye.
Mrs. Hardwick.
Aye.
Mrs. Mara.
Aye.
Mr. Conrad.
Aye.
Mr. Thompson.
Aye.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve resolution 2024-37, please?
Move to approve.
Mr. Thompson makes a motion.
Second.
Mr. Conrad seconds. Discussion.
Let's see, I'm going to go back to, I've known Mr. Jim Simone since 1983, believe it or not. He denies it to this day because he says he's not this old. But he actually came into my high school class and actually spoke. And I was always impressed by him and had the privilege to work with him and the world of knowledge that he has. And, he left about a year ago from Timberlake, a little bit less than a year ago from Timberlake. And it was a big loss to the community because he truly, I walked into Nick's Diner with Jim and everybody knew Jim. And everybody knows Jim. And it's one of those things that he does take the village to heart. Even though he spent 38 years in Cleveland, I think Timberlake is probably his real home. Because I think he really truly enjoys the community and the residents. And one of the things that when I had this discussion with them, I said, I just don't want to bring you back as a patrolman. I'd like to bring you back as a sergeant because you have a ton of knowledge that you can train a lot of our young officers on what to do and how to be safe and make a better community, because he's vested in community policing and making a direct impact in our village. So I'm happy that he accepted to come back to the village of Timberlake.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
well
you.
deserved. Thank you.
Back.
Any other discussion? Okay, well, Naren Hun, roll call, please.
Mr. Joyce.
Aye.
Mrs. Joyce.
Aye.
Mrs. Hardwick.
Aye.
Mrs. Mara.
Aye.
Mr. Conrad.
Aye.
Mr. Thompson.
Aye.
Thank you. Next, resolution 2024-38, a resolution authorizing the mayor to hire Officer Brandon Lawrence as part-time patrolman for the Timberlake Village Police Department and declare an emergency. Do I have a motion to suspend the rules, please?
So moved.
Mr. Conrad makes a motion.
I'll second.
Mr. Joyce seconds. Roll call, please.
Mr. Joyce.
Aye.
Mrs. Joyce.
Aye.
Mrs. Hardwick.
Aye.
Mrs. Mara.
Aye.
Mr. Conrad.
Aye.
Mr. Thompson.
Aye.
Thank you. Do I have a motion approving resolution 2024-38, please?
Move to approve.
Mr. Thompson makes a motion.
I'll second.
Mrs. Mara seconds. Discussion.
I've known Brandon Lawrence since probably 2015. Had the pleasure, he worked underneath me for a few years, and then he enlisted in the Army and spent 4 years in the Army. Came back to Ohio in law enforcement, and him and I have always been in contact, and I've always tried to get him to come work for me for a long time. And finally, I think I bugged him enough to finally come aboard, and he's one of these gentlemen that is a worker. He likes to work, likes to get involved in the community, and he wants to work as much as possible. So if I ever talk to him, he's usually working. So if I'm not sleeping, he's usually up at 3 o'clock in the morning entertaining my conversations. So he's a worker, definitely brings a lot to the table, is definitely eager and motivated to make an impact in the community.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for your service as well. Thank you.
Okay, no other discussion. Roll call, please.
Mr. Joyce.
Aye.
Mrs. Joyce.
Aye.
Mrs. Hardwick.
Aye.
Mrs. Mara.
Aye.
Mr. Conrad.
Aye.
Mr. Thompson.
Aye.
Thank you. Moving on, next is resolution 2024-39, a resolution authorizing the mayor to hire Officer John Jacobson as a part-time patrolman for the village of Timberlake Village Police Department and declare an emergency. Do I have a motion to suspend the rules, please?
So
Second.
moved.
Mr. Joyce makes a motion.
Second.
Mrs. Mara seconds. Roll call, please.
Mr. Joyce.
Aye.
Mrs. Joyce.
Aye.
Mrs. Hardwick.
Aye.
Mrs. Mara.
Aye.
Mr. Conrad.
Aye.
Mr. Thompson.
Aye.
Thank you. Do I have a motion approving resolution number 2024-39, please?
Move to approve.
Mr. Thompson makes a motion.
Second.
Mrs. Mara seconds. Discussion.
I've known John Jacobson since 2010. He moved away out of Ohio for a few years, went out to Montana. Now actually works for the VA Police Department. Is commissioned now in the state of Ohio. Looking to really get back into law enforcement full time. A good upstanding character, is a father of a 15-year-old girl. Definitely wants to get back involved in training and being part of law enforcement. He's supposed to be here, so I'm not sure if he's stuck in the weather. So hopefully he shows up in a little bit, but if not, understandable that the red traffic was kind of crazy today, but I think he'll be a great addition to the department as well.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion? None being heard. Roll call, please.
Mr. Joyce.
Aye.
Mrs. Joyce.
Aye.
Mrs. Hardwick.
Aye.
Mrs. Mara.
Aye.
Mr. Conrad.
Aye.
Mr. Thompson.
Aye.
Thank you. Next is resolution 2024-40. A resolution authorizing the mayor to hire Officer Michaela Dolbin as a special patrolman for the village of Timberlake Police Department and declare an emergency. Do I have a motion to suspend the rules, please?
Make a motion.
Second.
Mrs. Mara makes a motion. Mr. Conrad seconds. Roll call, please.
Mr. Joyce.
Aye.
Mrs. Joyce.
Aye.
Mrs. Hardwick.
Aye.
Mrs. Mara.
Aye.
Mr. Conrad.
Aye.
Mr. Thompson.
Aye.
Thank you. Do I have a motion approving resolution 2024-40, please?
Move to approve.
Mr. Thompson makes a motion.
Second.
Mrs. Mara seconds. Roll, discussion.
Well, I've known this young lady since January 30th, 2001, when she entered this world. So I'm blessed to call her my daughter. Sometimes you got to wonder as a parent, why she follows or they follow in your footsteps. But I'm honored. It's interesting that I guess she, from when she was little, we get to watch cops And I used to have to chase her around the house to now that she does the real thing. So she's a Parma police officer and has also, asked to come on to help us out when need as we can in our department. So it's definitely what I like, besides her being my daughter, is that she has a lot of connections with the young kids in the academy that can come over as auxiliaries, and we can start grooming our auxiliary program for the village to save us money in the future. So I think she'll make a great addition, and I'm kind of biased on this one, so I apologize.
Understood. Thank you. Okay, any other discussion?
The only other thing I'd like to say is that I think it's a real tribute to the community that the new chief would feel comfortable enough to bring his own daughter into the village. I think that's great. Says a lot about the community, says a lot about Chief Dolben, says a lot about his daughter. So I think a lot of information was just exchanged here without saying much. So it's great.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Roll call, please.
Mr. Joyce.
Aye.
Mrs. Joyce.
Aye.
Mrs. Hardwick. Mrs. Mara.
Aye.
Mr. Conrad. Mr. Thompson.
Aye.
Thank you. Next resolution 2024-41, a resolution authorizing the mayor to hire Officer Richard Schilling as special patrolman for the Timberlake Village Police Department and declare an emergency. Do I have a motion to suspend the rules, please?
Make a motion?
Ms. Meyer makes a motion.
Second.
Mrs. Hardwick seconds. Roll call, please.
Mr. Joyce.
Aye.
Mrs. Joyce.
Aye.
Mrs. Hardwick. Mrs. Mara. Mr. Conrad.
Aye.
Mr. Thompson.
Aye.
Thank you. Do I have a motion approving resolution 2024-41, please?
Move to approve.
Mr. Thompson makes a motion.
Second?
Mrs. Mara seconds. Discussion.
I've known Richard Schilling since 2010. I'm going to start this, that he's my mentor. He's made me into the officer who I am today. I was a young rookie many years ago, and he can tell you some good stories, which hopefully he won't. I could tell you one quick one once. I remember we walked up a call and I was stomping my feet, walking up some steps, and he just looked at me, he said, "Really?" And I spent 2 hours that evening walking up and down steps so nobody could ever hear me. So now I have an OCD in my head that I can't walk up steps without making making a noise. So thank you, Sarge. So he's also has a ton of knowledge with writing grants as well. He's written a ton of grants. He's also has credentials with being a machine gun instructor to you name it. Was a SWAT commander for about 15 years. So brings a lot to the table and wants to help. He's just an auxiliary position and just help build auxiliary program.
Any other discussion? None being heard, roll call, please.
Mr. Joyce.
Aye.
Mrs. Joyce.
Aye.
Mrs. Hardwick. Mrs. Mara. Mr. Conrad.
Aye.
Mr. Thompson.
Aye.
Next resolution 2024-42, a resolution authorizing the mayor to hire Officer Michael Wright as a part-time captain for the Timberlake Village Police Department and declare an emergency. Do I have a motion to suspend the rules, please?
So moved.
Mr. Joyce makes a motion.
Second?
Mrs. Joyce seconds. Roll call, please.
Mr. Joyce.
Aye.
Mrs. Joyce.
Aye.
Mrs. Hardwick.
Aye.
Mrs. Mara.
Aye.
Mr. Conrad.
Aye.
Mr. Thompson.
Aye.
Thank you. Do I have a motion approving resolution 2024-42, please?
Move to approve.
Mrs. Meyer makes a motion.
Second.
Mr. Joyce seconds. Discussion.
He'd step out, but
Stepped out.
We all know.
yeah,
we all know.
returning and
There we go.
Wait.
Okay, apologize for that. As Michael Wright, he's a current chief of Spencer Township, wealth of knowledge. I reached out to him a while back and said, "Hey, if things ever changed, would you consider?" And he's like, "Absolutely." So he would actually be here, but I think he's out of the country or something for 2 weeks. So I texted him and he's willing to come back and actually help the department try to get all the things that we need to get done with accreditations, the collaborative and a lot of other things. So I asked him if he would step up to the position and he agreed. And he's going to be, I think, a valuable asset to the village.
Yeah, great.
The other thing I would like to add to that is that when we hired him earlier this year, I thought he was great hire. all of his experience with grant writing, his experience as chief. I thought that all of that would be just a wealth of knowledge for the village, police department. And, it was probably one of my greatest disappointments to find out that he had decided that he had to leave. So, congrats on being able to convince him to come back. And, I think it's, again, a great addition to the police and he will, the police department, and he will be again, a terrific source of knowledge. for you.
Absolutely. I agree 100%.
Other discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Joyce,
Aye.
Mrs. Joyce,
Aye.
Mrs. Hardwick, Mrs. Mara,
Aye.
Mr. Conrad,
Aye.
Mr. Thompson.
Aye.
Thank you. Next is resolution 2024-43. Resolution authorizing the mayor to hire Officer Fred Beverly as part-time patrolman for the Timberlake Village Police Department and declare an emergency. Do I have a motion to suspend the rules, please?
Make a motion?
Mrs. Mara makes a motion.
I'll second.
Mrs. Joyce seconds. Roll call, please.
Mr. Joyce,
Aye.
Mrs. Joyce,
Aye.
Mrs. Hardwick, Mrs. Mara,
Aye.
Mr. Conrad,
Aye.
Mr. Thompson.
Aye.
Thank you. Do I have a motion approving resolution 2024-43, please?
Move to approve.
Thompson makes a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Joyce seconds. Discussion?
Fred Beverly, again, was a former Timberlake officer that just unfortunately left in the last few weeks. He's a Cleveland police veteran for, I believe, 28 or 30 years, somewhere to there. So reached out to him as well and, asked him if he was interested in returning back to the village to help the village out. And he actually accepted and said he'd love to come back to the village, enjoyed working here, enjoyed the department. And, one of the things that I've kind of talked to all the new officers is that we're going to build a new police department together as a team, not just one individual. I'm just the guy that was put at the top, but these are all the officers that will make this department run great and make our village once again even better than we were before.
Okay, great. Thank you. Any other discussion? I'm being heard. Roll call, please.
Mr. Joyce,
Aye.
Mrs. Joyce,
Aye.
Mrs. Hardwick,
Aye.
Mrs. Mara,
Aye.
Mr. Conrad,
Aye.
Mr. Thompson.
Aye.
Thank you. Next is resolution 2024-44. A resolution authorizing the mayor to hire Officer Jason Anderson as a part-time patrolman for the Timberlake Village Police Department and declare an emergency. Do I have a motion to suspend the rules, please?
So moved.
Mr. Joyce makes a motion. Do I
I'll
have a second?
second.
Mrs. Joyce seconds. Roll call, please.
Mr. Joyce,
Aye.
Mrs. Joyce,
Aye.
Mrs. Hardwick, Mrs. Mara, Mr. Conrad,
Aye.
Mr. Thompson.
Aye.
Thank you. Do I have a motion approving resolution 2024-44, please?
Move to approve.
Mr. Thompson makes a motion. Second, please. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mrs. Mara seconds. Discussion?
Known Jason Anderson since 2010. Definitely has his stuff together. Very determined officer. Has spent some time in the city of East Cleveland as well. So comes with a lot of experience on how to do things differently, how to be a good police officer, and he's very committed to the law enforcement profession. We've crossed paths several times throughout the years. I reached out to him, asked him if he was interested in coming to work for us, and if he can come start putting some hours in. That we definitely have a need immediately to bring officers with some experience in there that we don't teach them. They need to teach them how to use a radio today. So he's one of those guys that has a lot of great family values, is committed to law enforcement, the profession, has a great character. So he's a guy that when I reached out to him and he said yes, I was very pleased to have him join the ranks of the village of Timberlake.
Thank you. Any other discussion? I'm being heard. Roll call, please.
Mr. Joyce,
Aye.
Mrs. Joyce,
Aye.
Mrs. Hardwick, Mrs. Mara, Mr. Conrad,
Aye.
Mr. Thompson.
Aye.
Thank you. Next resolution 2024-45. Resolution authorizing the mayor to hire Officer Zach Thomas as a part-time patrolman for the Timberlake Village Police Department and declare an emergency. Do I have a motion to suspend the rules, please? Mr. Joyce makes a motion.
I'll second.
Mrs. Joyce seconds. Roll call, please.
Mr. Joyce,
Aye.
Mrs. Joyce,
Aye.
Mrs. Hardwick,
Aye.
Mrs. Mara, Mr. Conrad,
Aye.
Mr. Thompson.
Aye.
Thank you. Do I have a motion approving resolution 2024-45, please?
Move to approve.
Mr. Thompson makes the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Conrad seconds. Discussion?
No, it's okay.
Zach. Okay, Zach's been a police officer for, I think, 10+ years. I met him through friend of a friend for one of the officers, Brandon Lawrence. Had some great discussions with Brandon throughout the years. Brandon's looking for a home with the family value for a police department. And, I always, when I talk to officers about possibly coming out to the village of Timberlake, one of the things I always tell them, I said, it's like a family, and it truly is. And, I always use the Joyce, as one of my stories. I said, I've already worked 2 of their weddings, so I said, it's nice coming back to work other weddings, to see everybody from the year before and then start talking to them. I said, we give dog treats. I said, I'm not sure, I love to pet all the dogs, but it's the conversations I have with the residents of the village. And that's the part that, to me, is the wonderful thing. We can talk about anything. I had someone come up to me yesterday and we spoke for about 15 minutes, and they were just in doubting, kind of the world, the state of the world. And I said, I'm going to tell you a story that's going to change your thing. I said, my car broke down in Florida. And I said, I was on a tow truck. Some guy walked by and paid the tow truck guy for the tow out of his goodness of his heart. He goes, paid forward. And I go, you got it. And so that's the thing that, to me, that's what, I'm looking for, are all these officers from Zach, Jason, you name it, Joe, Christopher, Alicia, Rich, my daughter, Brandon, everybody, that I'm looking for officers that want to make this a home, that we're going to get out there, talk to the people. I'm not worried about, if you want to go write 5 tickets on Lakeshore, great. But you don't forget where the home is, and it's the streets of our villages to make them safe. I do want them on Lakeshore because I want people to see that we have we have officers that are going to be very vigilant to make sure that this department and this village stays safely. So that's my spiel on Zach.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion? None being heard, roll call, please.
Mr. Joyce.
Aye.
Mrs. Joyce.
Aye.
Mrs. Hardwick. Mrs. Mara. Mr. Conrad.
Aye.
Mr. Thompson.
Aye.
Thank you. Next, resolution 2024-46, resolution authorizing the mayor to hire Officer Shaylin Satterwhite as a part-time patrolman for the Timberlake Village Police Department and declare an emergency. Do I have a motion to suspend the rules, please?
I make a motion.
Mrs. Mara makes a motion. Do I have a
Second.
Mr. Joyce seconds. Roll call, please.
Mr. Joyce.
Aye.
Mrs. Joyce. Mrs. Hardwick. Mrs. Mara. Mr. Conrad.
Aye.
Mr. Thompson.
Aye.
Thank you. Do I have a motion approving resolution 2024-46, please?
Move to approve.
Mr. Thompson makes a motion.
Second.
Mr. Joyce seconds. Discussion.
Shalana's been an officer for 10+ years. Had some great discussions with her. She's also a business owner. And one of the things that we talked about was, and the discussion was that, again, about building a police department together. And, when someone has an idea, let's work with ideas. I always tell people that I was training a rookie years ago, and he made a statement. We were doing a traffic stop, and, he was trying to pull the kid out of the back seat. And I'm like, I'm not sure about this one. And he's like, we let the guy go, and he's like, I'm going to show you something on the Ohio Revised Code that we can pull this guy out. And so I went back to the station. I said, I stand corrected. You were right. We could have legally have pulled him out of the back seat of the car. So why I say that story is, when I spoke with Shalana to come out here, that's one of the things that we discuss, and I can hear her voice pick up and kind of get a good beat to it about trying to make an impact in building a police department together. And that's the whole thing that, I'm just going to stress with her and everybody else. And I look forward to the knowledge that she has to bring on, the experience that she has. She has spent time in East Cleveland as well. Again, I'm welcoming her to the family of the village of Timberlake. I was telling her how wonderful the people are, how everybody was baking stuff, getting things ready for this evening. And I said, it's how the village really operates. It's a family. So welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Okay, any other discussion? None being heard, roll call, please.
Mr. Joyce.
Aye.
Mrs. Joyce.
Aye.
Mrs. Hardwick. Mrs. Mara. Mr. Conrad.
Aye.
Mr. Thompson.
Aye.
Thank you. Next is resolution 2024-47, a resolution authorizing the mayor to hire Officer Dwayne Dalton Webb as a part-time patrolman for the Timberlake Village Police Department and declaring an emergency. Do I have a motion to suspend the rules, please?
So moved.
Mr. Joyce makes a motion.
I'll second.
Mrs. Joyce seconds. Roll call, please.
Mr. Joyce.
Aye.
Mrs. Joyce.
Aye.
Mrs. Hardwick. Mrs. Mara.
Aye.
Mr. Conrad.
Aye.
Mr. Thompson.
Aye.
Thank you. Do I have a motion approving resolution 2024-47, please?
Make a
Move.
motion.
Mrs. Meyer makes a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Joy seconds, discussion?
Dwayne has also been a police officer, I think, coming close to 10 years. A friend of I've met him through another friend, Brandon Lawrence. You know, one of the things that, you know, through the conversations I've had, ongoing conversations with Dwayne was, you know, his eagerness to really to be a part of the right family in law enforcement. And that's, you know, again, we've had countless discussions about what expectations are for the department and what the village expects from us. And Dwayne was so on board. I mean, I don't think I could get him to say yes any faster. So I'm welcoming him aboard. You know, I'm looking forward to having him work with us. He's a younger officer that's, you know, eager to really make an impact and make a difference in the village. So I'm welcoming. Hopefully, he enjoys the village and helps out with rebuilding this department.
Great, thank you. Okay, any other discussion? I'm being heard. Roll call, please.
Mr. Joyce,
Aye.
Mrs. Joyce,
Aye.
Mrs. Hardwick, Mrs. Mara, Mr. Conrad,
Aye.
Mr. Thompson.
Aye.
Thank you. Next is resolution 2024-48, a resolution authorizing the mayor to hire Officer Nakia Ward as part-time patrolman for the Timberlake Village Police Department and declare an emergency. Do I have a motion to suspend the rules, please?
Make a motion.
Mrs. Mara makes a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Mrs. Joyce seconds. Roll call, please.
Mr. Joyce.
Aye.
Mrs. Joyce.
Aye.
Mrs. Hardwick, Mrs. Mara, Mr. Conrad,
Aye.
Mr. Thompson.
Aye.
Thank you. Do I have a motion approving resolution 2024-48, please?
Move to approve.
Mr. Thompson makes a motion.
Second.
Mr. Joyce seconds. Discussion?
Nakia Ward, also former Timberlake police officer, left over earlier this year for various reasons. And I've approached him recently and said, "Hey, would you like to come back?" And his conversation was absolutely. When can I start? You know, so unfortunately he couldn't make it tonight. You know, he works with Lieutenant Brown at the school district. He has IT experience, so which will help out also in the department going forward about trying to work on our cameras and computers as well. So he's also looking forward to come back to make an impact in the village. And so I look forward to having him back.
Wonderful. Great. Thank you. Any other discussion? Okay, now I'm being heard. Roll call, please.
Mr. Joyce.
Aye.
Mrs. Joyce.
Aye.
Mrs. Hardwick, Mrs. Mara, Mr. Conrad, Mr. Thompson.
Aye.
Thank you. Next, resolution 2024-49, a resolution authorizing the mayor to hire Officer Joshua Fruth as a special patrolman for the Timberlake Village Police Department and declare an emergency. Do I have a motion to suspend the rules, please?
So moved.
Motion.
Mrs. Mara makes a motion.
Second.
Mr. Joyce seconds. Roll call, please.
Mr. Joyce.
Aye.
Mrs. Joyce.
Aye.
Mrs. Hardwick, Mrs. Mara, Mr. Conrad,
Aye.
Mr. Thompson.
Aye.
Thank you. Do I have a motion approving resolution 2024-49, please?
Move to approve.
Mr. Thompson makes a motion.
Second.
Mr. Joyce seconds. Discussion?
Joshua Fruth, currently he could not be here. He's deployed. He's a captain in the U.S. Army right now, intelligence. Probably my favorite rookie I ever trained in my life. You know, I've trained him 15 years ago and probably, I hate to say this, but I'm probably gonna be on record now, so I'll say it, probably a better officer than I was at the start because he truly was well groomed, has his things together and, you know, he's still works for the government, but for the Army, but he still wants to come back and come be part of the village. And I said, when you come back in Ohio, you know, we'll have you work some shifts and everything else. And, you know, told him about the community. He brings a lot of knowledge for intelligence, for surveillance, a lot of things that, you know, can help also the officers through the years. So I'm looking forward to when he comes back out of his deployment and puts his Timberlake uniform on and is on the streets.
When is he supposed to come back?
I'm not sure the exact date. I'm not sure if it's February or March, but he's supposed to be back. And he kind of does look like me. He tells everybody he's my son. He's not, but but he definitely an upstanding character. Like I said, he's gone through all the FBI schools and everything that he could need to go through. So he's very, very well up there, speaks a lot of languages. I hate to say it, he's faster than me. So we'll keep that under wraps, but I'm not sure the exact date. Depends when he's done with this mission.
Okay. Great. Thank you. Any other discussion? None being heard, roll call, please.
Mr. Joyce.
Aye.
Mrs. Joyce.
Aye.
Mrs. Hardwick.
Aye.
Mrs. Mara. Mr. Conrad.
Aye.
Mr. Thompson.
Aye.
Thank you. And lastly, resolution 2024-50, a resolution authorizing the mayor to hire Officer Ricardo Blanco as part-time patrolman for the Timberlake Village Police Department and declare an emergency. Do I have a motion to suspend the rules, please?
So moved.
Mr. Joyce makes the motion.
I'll second.
Mrs. Joyce seconds. Roll call, please.
Mr. Joyce.
Aye.
Mrs. Joyce. Mrs. Hardwick. Mrs. Mara. Mr. Conrad. Mr. Thompson.
Aye.
Thank you. Do I have a motion approving resolution 2024-50, please?
Move to approve.
Mr. Thompson makes a motion.
Second.
Mrs. Mara seconds. Discussion.
Ricardo is currently a Cleveland Clinic police officer. Also worked at the village of Wakeman, which you just had a change in their leadership as well. Was also referred from one of our new officers, and I've had discussions with him throughout the last probably 6 months. Asked him if he would entertain the opportunity to come out to work for us part-time. He said absolutely. He's definitely a quality officer who looking forward to being in a village that he can really make an impact at. So again, we trying to find people that are family oriented, that understand what we're looking for from this department going forward.
Great, thank you.
Mayor, if I may, I want to wait till the end because we had a lot to get through there. And this is, the officer's day, Chief Stobin's day, but I've heard a lot of things today that I want to stress and kind of express our gratitude. Family, community policing, building up the auxiliary and training new officers, giving back to the policing community and kind of being that starting point. It's testament to you, Chief Tobin, 17 officers today, 7 returning, people that you've worked with previously that know your character and know the type of officer you are and are willing to work for you. I always say a leader is always good as the people that they bring in or work under them. And you've hit every area of policing, and everyone has unique capabilities, experiences, and skills that I think will be huge for this village. And I don't often speak for council as a whole, but I think I can go out on a leap of faith here and say that we're here to help. We love our police force. We're glad to see it getting back to where we know it could be. We put a lot of effort and resources behind getting grants and new, hopefully body cameras and armor and new police vehicles is in the works. So we're doing our best as a council and a safety director to, give the officers everything they need to do their job, do it safely so that they can go home to their family. We can all go home to our families. So I just wanted to have that kind of generalized comment and express our gratitude and good to see everyone come out today in this crazy weather. It was snowing and lightning at the same time. I don't know if that's a good sign or a bad sign, but it happened. So I just want to say thank you and appreciate everyone taking the time to come out tonight.
Thank you, Ryan. We agree. We concur.
Any other discussion? None being heard, roll call, please.
Mr. Joyce.
Aye.
Mrs. Joyce.
Aye.
Mrs. Hardwick. Mrs. Mara.
Aye.
Mr. Conrad.
Aye.
Mr. Thompson.
Aye.
At this time, I'm going to have the mayor come on up. We're going to start one by one in the order. Approved and the officer, and then I think there's some questions afterwards.
Sure is.
We will have to adjourn after we're done with this. Is David here? Larry?
No, he's not. He's out of town on vacation. So
Yes. Come forward. Take your daughter with you so that she can help. Chief, you want to get in there and help with this?
sure.
Maybe you could hold the Bible for the candidates and the mayor can handle the swearing in. Oh, go ahead.
He's so well behaved. Yeah, I see my daughter here running around.
Sigh.
Okay. Angry Joe.
I appreciate that one. It's actually saved in my phone as Angry Joe.
You can just return it to the chief.
No.
You can keep one. Yeah.
Joe,
Yes.
Joe, it's the same one that they gave us, except was for
Okay.
the Village of Timberlake, not Village of Timberlake Police. Oh, he had nothing to do. He had to take the same.
Now you're gonna be angry, even more angry, see?
All right.
Chief, I'll have to print out a- Yeah. Who is it?
Joseph.
Yeah. There you go.
I just Christopher, solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution, support the Constitution of the United States, and the United States, and the Constitution and the Constitution of the State of Ohio, State of Ohio, the laws and ordinances of the Village of Timberlake, and I will faithfully, honestly, impartially, and impartially, discharge the duties of the following, discharge the duties of the following, of the Village of Timberlake, Police Department, State of Ohio, through my continuous service, so help me God. So help me. No problem.
Signature.
Sergeant Simone.
He's walking, wait a minute.
Never mind. Not paying attention to them. My answer is not the answer. There's a solution.
That's right. Yeah, you can keep them. And take that. Yeah. Give me that one back. Thanks.
I, James Simone, solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution, support the Constitution of the United States, and the Constitution of the State of Ohio, the laws and ordinances of the Village of Timberlake, and I will faithfully, honestly, and impartially, discharge the duties of the Village of Timberlake Police Department, and the Village of Timberlake Police Department, State of Ohio, through my continuous said office, so help me God. So help me God. Huh? Oh. Random Lawrence? Yeah.
You can keep on. Yeah, take one with you. And I'll keep the other two.
For the United States.
Thanks.
State of Ohio. The laws and ordinances of the Village of Timberlake, and I will faithfully, honestly, impartially, and impartially, discharge the duties of the Village of Timberlake Police Department, for the Village of Timberlake Police Department, State of Ohio, through my continuous said office, so help me God. That's right. So, Taylor. Or you want to make her wait till last? Come over here if you want. Take it from over here.
Yeah, thanks.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm Caleb Golden. Solemnly swear. That I will support the Constitution of the United States. And the Constitution of the State of Ohio. The laws and ordinances of the village of Timberlake. And I will faithfully. Honestly and impartially. Discharge the duties of special fulfillment. Of the village of Timberlake Police Department. State of Ohio. During my continuance in said office. Richard? Richard? Yes. Yeah. I heard that.
No, the only bad part is I'm probably the oldest. Whatever, that's Jimmy.
Yeah, after him.
Say, all the people you brought up, I'm like.
Let me know who playing, man.
He's old. I get in a photograph, don't get the shiny.
Drop that part out. Thanks.
5 years.
I, Richard Schilling. Solemnly swear. That I will support the Constitution of the United States.
I will support the Constitution.
And the Constitution of the State of Ohio.
Constitution of the State of Ohio.
The laws and ordinances of the village of Timberlake.
Laws and ordinances of the village of Timberlake.
And I will faithfully. Honestly and impartially. Discharge the duties of special patrolman.
Discharge the duties of special patrolman.
Of the village of Timberlake Police Department.
Village of Timberlake Police Department.
State of Ohio.
State of Ohio.
During my continuance in said office.
Yeah, you can keep one and then you can bring that back when you have a chance.
The paperwork too. Pardon me?
Yeah, paperwork.
All right, thank you. I, Jason Anderson. Solemnly swear. That I will support the Constitution of the United States. Constitution of the State of Ohio. Laws and ordinances of the village of Timberlake. I will faithfully. Honestly and impartially. Discharge the duties of patrolman. Of the village of Timberlake Police Department. State of Ohio. During my continuance in said office.
Jack's not here, right?
Alan? How do you pronounce that? Delane. I'll butcher a couple more times.
One A on the end's gotta be an A on the end.
Okay, that's why I didn't pronounce it that way. Correct. Okay. It'll be A on her. Yeah, just for the record, you sent me one without the.
Okay.
I, Timberlake, solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States, and the Constitution of the State of Ohio, the laws and ordinances of the Village of Timberlake, and I will faithfully, honestly, and impartially discharge the duties of fulfillment of the Village of Timberlake Police Department, State of Ohio, through my continuous and said office. So help me God.
Even fill this out. And, I mean,
I'm laying on my solemnly swear to support the Constitution of the United States, and support the Constitution of the United States, and the Constitution of the State of Ohio, Constitution of the State of Ohio, the laws and ordinances of the Village of Timberlake, the laws and ordinances of the Village of Timberlake. I will faithfully, honestly, and impartially, discharge the duties of fulfillment, of the Village of Timberlake Police Department, Village of Timberlake Police Department, State of Ohio, through my continuous and said office.
Sure, Larry. For the ones who aren't here tonight, they are available. Will we have to reconvene in order to witness this thing? Okay.
I get one for the Timberlake Times.
Who making faces at each other?
Yes. We need to vote.
Yes, Cindy.
People sitting down.
Okay. Gary, we got adjourned.
She's like, wait a minute, sorry. I did. Do you remember that?
Someone grab Margaret.
We have to grab Margaret and Cindy.
Oh, yeah, Cindy.
Oh, my God.
We're such a family, we have to eat now.
I know, absolutely.
Come on, when are we getting the food?
Okay, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Mr. Conrad makes a motion. Mr. Joyce seconds. Roll call, please.
Mr. Joyce.
Aye.
Mrs. Joyce.
Aye.
Mrs. Hardwick. Mrs. Mara.
Aye.
Mr. Conrad.
Aye.
Mr. Thompson. Aye.
Thank you. We are adjourned.
Just want to say, if I could say one thing real quick, I want to say thank you on behalf of all the new officers today for A, coming aboard, and B, for the village council for doing this tonight. And a special thank you to one of our wonderful residents that truly brought something to the department that I'd like to have Debbie King, I'd like to have, Jim Simone open it, actually. But yeah, let me stand back though, no, just in kidding.
Would have been sitting there for an hour.
But thank you, Debbie.
Ticking.
No. I just wanted this individual to do it because this was a big, conversation of contention.
Careful, it might be delayed. I hear you.
I know.
I know. Years ago, a friend of mine was trapped in a police car, burning, and the guys who came to help him, nobody had a knife to break the window. Couldn't get the seat off. He died in direct. Oh, no. I've had this knife ever since then. Hey!
Look, thank you. We have a coffee maker. Thank you. So thank you.
And for Christmas, we're gonna have to buy you a clock.
I know.
We gotta buy you.
Still got the clock.
Okay,
Don't forget that.
Thank you. Yes. Just make sure you put the right time on there. But thank you, honestly.